Hello, True Health Seeker, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Learn True Health podcast. If you have blood sugar issues and you're looking to finally resolve them, I would love to work with you. Please go to bloodsugarcoach.com, put in your information, and you'll be able to book a free 30-minute session with me, and we can see how I can help you. I have personally resolved my own type 2 diabetes. I am no longer a diabetic, and I did so with natural medicine. In the last 6 years, I've gone on to help a lot of people to also completely resolve their blood sugar issues so that they now have normal blood sugar. So if you'd like to no longer have blood sugar issues, please go to bloodsugarcoach.com. That's bloodsugarcoach.com. I look forward to working with you and enjoy today's episode. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 212. Well, happy new year. I am so excited for 2018. I've actually been looking forward to 2018 for a really long time. It was kind of like halfway through 2017, I was already ready for 2018. And now it's here. It's January 1st. Adam, you get to ring in the new us, the new 2018 with all the Learn True Health listeners. I'm so thrilled to have you here. Adam Schaeuble, the amazing podcast host of the £1 Million Mission to help people lose 1 million pounds, or help 1 million people lose 1 pound each.
Yeah, I'll take it any way I get it.
Yeah, any way you can get it. Well, Adam, you were back with us on episode 181, so I highly recommend new listeners, go check out Adam's interview at episode 181, which was fantastic to have you on the show the first time then, and now it is the encore presentation of Adam Schaeuble, the previously heavy dude, which I just love your story. For those who didn't get to hear episode 181, can you start off our interview by sharing your story? Give us that little recap, because I think it's pretty awesome what you've accomplished.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ashley. I am just honored to do a encore performance here on the Learn True Health podcast. This is one of my favorite shows. I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of Ashley James. I'm the founding member of the Ashley James fan club. If you guys didn't know that. But this is such a great audience. And Ashley, before I forget, I just want to tell you, I've had so many of my clients, my audience members, my listeners that have latched onto your show from you being on my show and me being on your show. And they just talk about you all the time and all the tidbits that they're picking up from this podcast. So I want to thank you first and foremost for that.
Oh, so cool. Thank you.
So my basic story is this, Learn True Health listeners. I found myself at a point in my life where I weighed 327 pounds. I was unhealthy, I was unhappy, and I was ready for a change. I know a lot of you sitting with this new year are probably in a similar position. And I decided to rehabilitate my lifestyle. And I decided to just get going with my fitness, my nutrition, and I went to work. And I ended up losing over 100 pounds. So now, I walk around 200 to 220 pounds and much healthier, much fitter, much happier. And my life was totally rehabilitated, totally overhauled for the better. And I was inspired by, I felt so much better. I knew what an impact, finding my health meant to me. I opened up a fitness center and I took the programs that I used, that I basically developed for myself, and I started to teach people in my hometown how to do what I did. And funny thing happened, over the next 5 years, my hometown, Bloomington, Indiana, we lost 35,000 pounds, which was just above and beyond anything I ever expected. I remember losing the first 1,000 pounds. I made hats for everyone. I'm like 1,000-pound club. And if any of you guys can find the 1,000-pound club hats out there, there's like, 20 of them just roaming around. And I was like, all right, we lost, 1,000 pounds. I'm like, this is the ultimate, we ended up doing 35,000 pounds. So then I started thinking bigger. I'm like, this is really working. It's different. And my approach is unique. And it's no hacks, no real quick fixes. It's just kind of down and dirt, doing the work, being consistent with your efforts and your mindset, and thinking a little bit different, thinking strategically about the transformation process. So then I set the £1 million mission goal, and I said, all right, Now the goal is to go worldwide and inspire 1 million pounds of results. And that's why I started the podcast, the Million Pound Mission podcast. And now I'm 75 episodes into it, and we go 3 days a week. And I have superstars like Ashley James on there every Wednesday to do interviews. And I hop on there a couple times a week to just drop transformation knowledge and really try to teach people what I've learned with my own transformation, but also with now the over 1,500 people that I've put through my programs, and help you shorten the learning curve so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that people traditionally make. And I challenge people to think differently and to work hard and be consistent. So that's kind of the PhD. You mentioned the PhD. That's the previously heavy dude. That's I say I earned my PhD by going from 327 pounds to losing 100 pounds. So that's where the PhD came from that Ashley mentioned earlier.
Weight loss, people can lose weight, but it's the maintaining the weight loss and achieving health that is so impressive to me, that you took your, because you had to really transform your life, to transform the root cause of what had you gain that weight, right? You didn't, it's not just eating carrot sticks and going to the gym, right? Because there was
Right.
behavior and habits and mindset that got you there. And you were able to clean up all the toxic stuff that was going on in your life, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, to get yourself to the point where you could shed the pounds. But the pounds that you shed represented how healthy you shifted your life. Once we heal what got us there and what's keeping us stuck, once we shift that, and that's all mental and emotional, once we shift that, then the pounds come off so much easier. But some people are listening right now and they don't necessarily have weight loss goals, but they might have fitness goals, right? So you help people also with all kinds of goals around their health, and we're going to get into that. I love your website. It's quite motivational for me to check out your website, which is transformationcoach.me. You have this really awesome scrolling pictures that come across of people who've lost 100 pounds, people who've lost 140 pounds. These men and women look amazing. So I love seeing the real success, but you can tell that they are happier, that they're healthier. It's not just about weight loss. It's about achieving better health. Now you also have this free 14-day Hello Abs starter course. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, the Hello Ab Starter course is just something that I put together because I know a lot of people just struggle with knowing where the heck to get started, and it's like people come to me and they're like, all right, there are all these programs, all these things. There's a new phenomenon I feel like is almost happening with the popularity of podcasting, where people are hopping from one podcast to the other, getting lots of really great advice, but they never really implement anything. They kind of do it for a day and then switch modes to the next podcast expert for the next day and then the next day. And people are just like confused and like, where do I start? So I put together a 14-day course where there's a daily workout challenge, 10-minute video, follow along video, you just push play. And I'm there with some of my top clients that have had great results in my program. They're leading the exercise. So they're like Lisa, you'll see her. She's lost 140 pounds. She's on the slideshow that Ashley mentioned. She's one of the people leading one of the 10-minute workouts. And she's there doing, leading by example. So I've got follow along workouts. I've got the same nutrition plan that I use to lose my 100 pounds. I give that to you for free. I load it up. And, access to some daily, what I call strategic thinking, where people are going to get a little bit of insight on how to properly launch a transformation and make sure that it sticks. Because it's, Ashley, it's a New Year's resolution time right now, and people are fired up to get going and ignite that transformation. But I want to make sure that this year it sticks and you solidify that healthy lifestyle. And that's, the 14-day Hello App Starter course. That's why I call it a starter course, because it's not going to solve everything, but it's going to get us started, and it's going to lay the foundation for what could possibly happen and turn out to be a great transformation. So that's kind of the basics of that. I also toss in a couple bonuses with I've got a 7-day done for you meal plan. I've got my recipe book. So all kinds of healthy recipes and things like that in there. But that's just a little, I realize that there's so many experts out there and so many programs. I just want to give people something really good that they can get to know me and my coaching style, my program for free, and just kind of test the waters and see if it's a good fit.
Awesome. Now, when we had you on the show back in episode 181, your podcast was a different name, and you changed the name of your podcast, which to really suit your mission, your goal. So I love that. Do you want to, just for those who may have been following your old podcast and be confused about it, what was your old podcast called, and then how can they find your new the same podcast but by the new name?
Yeah, I always kind of just take action. I'm a big action taker, and I adjust as I go. And it's kind of like ready, fire, aim. That's how I operate. So I'm like, all right, my website is transformationcoach.me, my Instagram, my Facebook. So my podcast will also be transformationcoach.me. And so that was the original name of the show, just the transformationcoach.me podcast. And I joined some podcasting groups, got a little bit of coaching, and they said, you know what? People don't know what the heck that is. And they don't know when they're searching through iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play or whatever, they don't know what that show is about. So you need to come up, what's your mission? I'm like, well, it's the Million Pound Mission. And they're like, that's it. That's the name.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I switched over, it has just resonated with people, and the amount of people subscribing and following it and tuning in. It's just like people, they get it and they realize that they're a part of this. We're all in this together, and they're a part of the Million Pound Mission, and people are donating weight from all across the world. And we're, going to hit that 1,000,000 mark, and we're going to celebrate that, every pound as we go.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to be one of your success stories for sure. I'm going to be donating my weight to your 1,000,000 pounds, and I hope
That's
my
right.
listeners do as well. That's awesome. You're talking about your 14-day abs, the starter course, which is on your website. So if someone goes to transformationcoach.me, they'll see it right there. They can sign up for free. And the link to that is going to be in the show notes of today's podcast. So if you're driving or on your elliptical trainer at the gym, you don't have to get off and go write it down somewhere. It's in the show notes of today's podcast. I have had Michael Weinberger on the show several times, and he has an amazing story. If listeners haven't gone, definitely check him out as well. He's had several episodes. And for those who don't know, if you go to learntruehealth.com, you can use the search bar and search for episodes by their keywords. He has struggled with weight his whole life, and back, I think he said it was Thanksgiving, he realized that, and he's in the somewhere in the 300s right now, kind of like where you were before you lost your weight.
Right.
And he realized that he couldn't do one push-up. He got on the ground and he couldn't do one push-up, and he decided that every day he was going to do one push-up, and then he was going to add another push-up to it. So if day 1 he does one push-up, day 2 he'll do two push-ups, and now he can easily do over 40 push-ups, just bang them right out.
That's awesome.
And he is, and it's not, he says it hasn't changed, it hasn't made him lose 100 pounds yet, but all he did was start, right around Thanksgiving, I think he said, where he couldn't even push his body off the ground. And now he can just, right before bed, just jump on the floor and just bang them out. And that's the power of that consistency. That's the power of maintaining your goal, right? So if someone takes your abs course and then they keep doing it. So you give them 14 days, but if they keep doing it over and over again, every 2 weeks, they restart the program and do it again and again, and they just follow a consistent pattern, then they're going to have that 6-pack in a year, because it is that drop in the bucket that takes every day. And I mean, I've been there where Michael Weinberger was, where I couldn't push my body off the ground. I remember back when I was studying martial arts, I remember the first day I couldn't do jumping jacks. I couldn't push my body off the ground. And then by the time it came for our first test to go from white belt to yellow belt, I remember being able to, I was just floored that I could do 100 push-ups, 100 jumping jacks, I could do 100 crunches. And that was only from what it took to go from white belt to the next level. And it was the consistency of getting in the dojo and doing it every day, and failing every day, failing to do the push-ups, failing to get to 10 until eventually I could, right? But it's that fail. We have to hit that wall. We have to fail. We have to try to do the crunch or try to do the push-up or try to do something and fail, and that is our wall. And then that is like, instead of giving up, that's where we get excited because we know that that's the wall we're going to push. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So we're
100%.
we're going to push that. So if you can only do 2 crunches, then that's your wall, and that's awesome. Instead of beating yourself up, because I've been there, I beat myself up about it, like, oh, I'm such a slob, I can only do 2 crunches or 2 push-ups. But instead of beating ourselves up, if we can get really excited because we found our wall, then we go, great. Now it's on. Now, or if we can only run a mile, great. Now it's on. Now I have a challenge because now I know where my wall is, and then we can push ourselves, and then we get to look back 2 or 3 weeks from now, or 2 or 3 months from now, and look back and go, I remember when I could only do this, when my wall was there, and look how far I pushed it. And so I think that's the part of taking our New Year's resolution, that mindset of our New Year's resolution, and figuring out how can we maintain it. So what happens between January and March that most people give up? What is that? Can you talk to us and help us explain how we can shift our mindset so we don't give up, but somewhere between January and March, give up on those new health goals that we set for 2018?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought this up because this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. And I think one of the like special skills that I've developed, or something that I feel like is kind of unique about the way I approach fitness, is that I try to paint a picture so that people can visualize the process and see where they're at, give you a roadmap instead of just randomly taking action and then deciding that we failed and it's time to give up. So I have a process that I put together that I call the transformation timeline. And there's 3 phases of this. I want to just go through those real quick and teach you guys this process so you can, better see exactly which phase you're in, what you need to understand about that phase, and how you progress into the next phase. So the first phase is what I call the coachability phase. And the basic question is, are you going to be coachable? So usually when people enter this phase, or just before, what I'm looking to assess is the balance between their lifestyle and their health. And usually before somebody starts a program, their focus, their momentum is going in the wrong direction. Usually pounds are coming on. So maybe this holiday season, you put on a few extra pounds. Your momentum is going in the wrong direction. You've been focusing a little bit more on the lifestyle, cutting loose with the holidays, spending more time out, catching up with old friends for drinks or whatever, not focusing so much on the health. So if we were going to write the word lifestyle and health next to each other, the word lifestyle would be in all capitals, the word health would be in all lowercase. So that's kind of where they're at in this first phase. And you decide, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do, the 14-day Hello Abs challenge, or I'm going to do Weight Watchers, or I'm going to do keto, or whatever. You're going to do something. And are you going to be coachable? Are you willing to give up control? Are you willing to learn something new? Are you willing to let someone else tell you how to do this, just show you the way? And a lot of people, in our last episode that I was on your show, we talked about the black hole of fitness doom. This is where people get trapped, in that black hole of fitness doom, where they just invest in something, but never really give up control, and they end up just going around and around and around, investing in something new, kind of halfway getting started. Eventually life happens, they give up, they crash and burn, they go back right where they started. And so that's that initial test you have to pass, basically, in this coachability phase. Now, when people say, yes, I am coachable, I will, accept coaching and do what my coach wants me to do, or it doesn't necessarily mean you're working with a coach. It could be a program, an online Facebook group, but just letting someone else give you some advice and following a plan that wasn't developed by you, mainly. Because people are always, we feel like we're experts, right? Like, I can do this on my own, I got this. And usually that isn't the case. So the next balance shift we're looking for is completely switching that balance with the health and the lifestyle. So now what I'm going to ask people to do to get out of the coachability phase is to switch their focus to health for a certain period of time and let go a little bit of that lifestyle. So again, if we're writing those 2 words next to each other, the health is going to be in all capitals, the lifestyle is going to be all lowercase, and we're going to focus on you and your health and invest time in your health for a specific period of time. And this, Ashley, is where people freak out. And because they say, I can't maintain this. They're doing a boot
Mm-hmm.
camp, and you get the first few weeks of your boot camp done, you're losing weight, you're feeling great. But then you're like, dude, I can't maintain this. I'm working out 6 hours a week, and I'm, eating, only lettuce or, whatever. I'm doing this hardcore program. I can't maintain this. And what people don't realize is that this is just a phase that they need to pass through. And I don't expect people to maintain this sort of balance. I want to even out the balance between your health focus and your lifestyle focus, but we have to go through this phase to make sure that we regain that momentum and shift our momentum in the correct direction again. So when people are freaking out in this phase, I tell you to just hang in there. You have to think about, what are you willing to give up for a short period of time in order to achieve the results that you want to achieve. So usually that's an investment of time, maybe money, effort, focus, energy, ego. What are you willing to give up for just a short period of time? It might be, 6 months, it might be a year, depending on what, kind of shape you're in, what kind of transformation you're looking to achieve. But what's worth it? What's worth giving up just for a short period of time? So don't freak out. We don't expect you to maintain this. And so once we can start working through that concept, we can move into phase two.
Well,
We,
before we go to the next phase, I want
yep.
to talk about this one a bit more. You said that we need to ask ourselves, what are we willing to maybe sacrifice to shift the lifestyle focus towards the health focus? So you said time, money, ego, energy. I like to add sometimes sleep and instant gratification. So get
Yes.
it. You know what?
Yes.
You're I totally have this excuse like, oh, I can't go to the gym early because I'm going to lose sleep, right? Because I have to set an alarm, I have to wake up. And then I kind of use this excuse, but sleep is really healthy for me, so I shouldn't go to the gym early, right? And so I kind of talk myself out of going to the gym because I don't want to like miss out on sleep. Sleep's so important, right? And it's so funny because, well, what was I doing that I couldn't go to bed 45 minutes earlier, right? Like
Exactly.
how important was that TV or reading that book or whatever, right? And so if we just set the alarm and get out there and go to the gym in the morning, if that is our fitness goal, then we're gonna yeah, we might lose a few days of maybe having a half an hour of sleep in the morning, but we're gonna sort of like throw our life up in the air, and then we're gonna figure out how to sort it out so we get to bed earlier. And it's either gonna be the cart or the horse, but you gotta put you got, at some point it's gonna sort itself out. If you put the gym as more important than your sleeping in the morning, then eventually you're gonna figure out how to get that 8 hours of sleep and have the gym in your life. Um, we just have to make the gym, if the gym was part of your goal plan, we have to make that to be more important. Instant gratification is something that my husband and I have kind of figured out over the years, has been our where we're making lifestyle more important than health, because we'd be going along, we'd be like, okay, we're like eating super healthy, we're eating super clean, and then we'd like drive by our favorite restaurant. I'm using this as an example. Or we'd be in the grocery store and we'd see these. For a while, we were totally addicted to these coconut ice cream chocolate bars, like these ice cream bars that, because we're dairy free, so, but it's still full of sugar.
Right. Right.
And so we would be like, oh, let's get those and eat them for the ride home. Um, and there was like an entire summer where we just kind of made the excuse to almost on a daily basis, like figure out how to go to the grocery store and get a packet of these and eat. We'd each have, because there's four of them in the box, and we'd each have two. And that might be an extra like 500 calories a day, but that adds up. Like over a
Yep.
whole summer, I could not believe how much just that one kind of like we wanted the instant gratification of that little treat added up big time. It was actually really scary how much that one little treat. And what we realized is that we wanted the little, I call it my brat. So I have this brat inside me that wants what she wants when she wants it. And if all of a sudden pizza comes on the TV, or all of a sudden now I want pizza, and this little brat goes, I want pizza. and or I want chocolate or whatever, like whatever food, and it's not part of my program. Right now, I can make healthy food taste delicious. I don't feel deprived in that department. But the instant gratification is this little brat that wants what she wants when she wants it. And that was a big, putting lifestyle in all caps and putting health in tiny little letters in my life. And I had to realize that what I needed to do is gain emotional intelligence to be able to catch myself and go, oh, wait a second, this is instant gratification. And we do it with shopping too. Like we get our paycheck and also we want to go blow it on something stupid, instead of be responsible with our money and put money aside in the nest egg and that kind of thing. So, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're buying lots of stuff and you never seem to put stuff away in savings, that's that little brat that wants the instant gratification. Putting stuff in savings is, emotional intelligence, right? Is going, okay, I'm going to put a little away in the nest egg for later, for down the road. That's emotional intelligence, because you're not instantly gratifying yourself with something. And so I found that my biggest problem with sticking to my health goals was that little brat. But once I could identify her and realize that voice wasn't me, and that voice had nothing to do with me achieving my health goals, and in fact was like thwarting them and making them like really bad, and I'd have like instant joy. I'd eat the ice cream, I feel really great in the moment, but 5 minutes later when the ice cream's gone, I was not happy, and I in fact was miserable. So that little instant gratification was doing me more harm than good. And so that was part of the lifestyle, right? Because if I want to live a great lifestyle and have that lifestyle in all caps, like you said, I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to go to the gym. I can sleep in. I could basically be a sloth. But then look what happens to my health. And so I love what you're saying is just for a time being, for a specific phase, you have to move through this phase where you're putting aside that instant gratification. You're basically telling the brat to go sit in a corner. Your brat is on timeout, and
Yes.
and you're
Yeah.
going to sacrifice a little bit of your time, money, ego, energy, and sleep, and some of that lifestyle. You're just for a short period of time, in the grand scheme of things, so that you can drop that 100 pounds or gain those abs, or better your health in a way that is going to give you so much more. It's going to open you up to a whole new world of possibilities. And ultimately, wouldn't achieving your health goals give you a better lifestyle? Because now you can go mountain biking or hiking or jogging, or you can chase your kids around, not get winded, or you can fit into that any kind of clothing you want to fit into, or you can just have tons of energy because you invested the time and you did have to do some temporary sacrificing to make it, to make these long-term health goals. My aunt always says, a moment on the lips, forever on the hips. And so sometimes we just have to catch ourselves and go, wait a second, what are my health goals? So I love that you pointed that out, because I've had some clients be really scared when they look at their meal plan and they're like, I can never have pizza again, or whatever their favorite food is. Like if they have to go gluten-free, or if they have to go dairy-free, or if they have to, eliminate certain foods. Instead of seeing all the wonderful healthy foods they could be eating, they're only looking at the 5 foods they can't be eating, like sugar and flour and processed food, that kind of thing. And immediately they that ego gets threatened, because they realize my lifestyle is being taken away from me, and that little brat is freaking out inside. So, but we have to gain perspective. So I love that you're allowing us to see that we have to gain perspective, so that we don't, our brat doesn't feel so threatened that the brat takes over and thwarts all of our health efforts, and has our 2018 health goals be flushed down the toilet.
Right. And it's just being able to have the advantage of seeing the process now. People just don't think about the transformation in this way. And that's why I just want to shine light on this so you guys can see 2018 and the phase by phase process, and you can have confidence as you move through it. So, yeah, you have to tell the brat to go sit in the corner just for the time being. And you can always just feel free to remind yourself that you're worth it. You're worth
Mm.
it. You're worth having, some sacrifices for the time being. And then you can come out the other side of this where, like I talked about in phase 2, that's the lifestyle solidification phase. And that's where the two words, health and lifestyle, are in all caps all the way across. And I see people achieve this year after year now, month after month. I help people do this and I see it happen. And it's a beautiful place to be where, the way I can best define this is that you're happy with your health. Like if I was working with you as a personal trainer or a coach, I would be very happy. Like we're healthy. Our health stats are great. Your self-confidence is there. You're fitting into the clothes that you want to fit into. You can, go out and wrestle with your kids or run around and your doctors are happy, but you also just have that sense of well-being, but you also feel like you're not deprived with your lifestyle. Now, obviously, disclaimer, if you go back to the lifestyle that you had originally, then you're out of balance again. But there's that happy medium where, we try to trim people back a little bit to where maybe in their, hardcore rebalancing phase where they're focusing on health, they're putting in extra hours in the gym. And we tried to say, okay, let's dial that back just a little bit to give you some more time to be with your family, to get that extra sleep, to focus on your career, to, head out with some social activities with your friends. So we find that happy medium, that nice little balance point where you're very content all the way around. And, this doesn't happen overnight. You have to understand that this takes work, but it is so, so worth it. And it takes work to maintain it. So once you're there, it's not like all of a sudden magic button, you never go back. Life happens to us consistently, and those curveballs will happen. And if we're not ready for them, we can easily just fall back into that black hole of fitness doom and just regain weight, lose momentum. But just having the map out there in front of you and realizing that phase two, that's where we work on this health and lifestyle balance. And, usually I tell people to give themselves about 6 months to solidify this, at least, I hate to even put a number on it so people have expectations, but like in 6 months, I will be there. But just give yourself at least that amount of time. So if you're setting your New Year's resolutions now, January 1st, give yourselves till, this summer to start feeling like I should be balancing out, my lifestyle, my health by this point, if you're really consistent with your effort.
Got it. Got it. And so that 6 month period though, and that's I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a blink of an eye, but 6 months feels like a long time to be doing something like totally different than what we have been doing for years. Do you have any advice for how we can stick with it? Like, how can we stick with a program with if we have this long-term goal?
Right. I think you have to focus on your goal. You have to focus on the why behind your goal. And always, one of my favorite sayings that I like to put out there is that your why has got to be larger than all of the why nots that you will combat. Even if they all happen at once, that why has to be stronger. So the reason behind your weight loss goal or your health goal, that's got to be stronger than all the why nots. But, in addition to that, I feel like we have to simplify things and focus on our fundamentals, asking questions like, am I following a dedicated nutrition plan? Am I following a dedicated exercise plan? Am I thinking strategically about my transformation with concepts like the transformation timeline that we're going through? And am I doing all of these things consistently? And just taking those four things, the nutrition, the exercise, the game planning, the strategic thinking, and the consistency, if we can just apply those and keep them top of mind, then that's how we gut it out. And that's where we start to see results. And as you start to see results, it gets easier. We gain the momentum and you start to see, okay, this is actually happening. And it's like, the first part of your transformation is like pushing a giant boulder up a hill. But once you start to get momentum, it's like having the PhD, Adam Schaeuble, there with you, pushing it up the hill a little bit. But then all of a sudden, we get to the top of the hill and we give that boulder a giant shove and it goes on its own. And that's what we're trying to achieve here in phase two with that health and lifestyle balance.
Got it. So the hardest part of pushing the rock up the hill is the first part, but
Yep,
then we get
exactly.
momentum.
Yeah.
And I seem to remember, didn't you say that when you were over 300 pounds and you had your health goal, now how long had you been over 300 pounds? How long was that sort of a struggle for you?
I consistently gained 20 to 30 pounds in college. So I was on like a 20 to 30 pound a year plan from college on. So I graduated high school. I weighed 185 pounds in high school. And so by the time I graduated college, I'm over 300. And then I was over 300 for about 3 years before I got it together and started to make the transition. And then I lost my 100 pounds over the next year and a half on the way down. And like you said, that initial phase, just getting started, to return to the boulder analogy, I almost feel like the boulder isn't sitting still when we first have to start pushing. It's rolling down the hill at us, and we have to reverse the momentum first, right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so we have to
Yeah.
stop the negative momentum and then start pushing up the hill, which is equally hard. But like I said, we're trying to we have to keep our focus on the peak of that hill, because we know we can get there, and we're not expected to get there by ourselves. We got to tag in somebody that can help us, or a group of people, and get some help. Let go of the ego, ask for help, which we are not all great at doing, myself included, and get to that peak, and then just stay so focused on the why behind the goal. We get there, kick that boulder down the hill, and then we just focus on making sure that it keeps rolling in the right direction as we continue to achieve new goals and move into the next phase of the process.
I like that your long-term plan includes balancing health and lifestyle. I really like that, because right now the pendulum is swung, and we've all had more focus on lifestyle and been sacrificing health, and then you want us to swing the pendulum in the other direction, where we're going to focus on health primarily and sacrifice a little bit of lifestyle temporarily, and then we're going to bring the pendulum back into the middle and have that nice balance. I feel like that's a very holistic approach to help us to gain balance, because when you're gaining balance between health and lifestyle, that is gaining balance in every area of our life, right? That's helping us to gain balance with our family life, with our emotional health, with our career. And a lot of times what's led to our unhealthy physical body is we have sacrificed our physical health for our career or for our school, like you did with college, for our studies. Or a lot of people will, they spend as much time as they can with their family, and then they go to work. And so they're making excuses like, I can't eat home cooked meals because I don't have enough time, because I work so hard, and then I want to spend time with my family when I'm home. And so it's just easier for me to eat out or eat takeout, or I don't know how to cook, and I don't, so they make these excuses, and they've lived by these excuses, which are really real to them up until that point. But they're that pain of them not having health has become more painful than the pain of learning a new behavior, like learning how to cook and coming home, and instead of doing takeout, um, or eating, some kind of processed or packaged food, that pain of their ill health has now reached a point where they're now more motivated to figure out how to eat healthy. So I think a lot of people are there at that point at the beginning of 2018, or they're like, screw this. 2018 is going to be different. I'm going to get my health back. I love that you said your why needs to be stronger than your why nots. Didn't you say that when you were in your weight loss, which took about a year and a half, did you say, to lose that 100 pounds?
Yep.
Did didn't every day you focus on your goal to keep you
Yeah.
sick? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. We dug into this in episode 181 of the Learn True Health podcast. So you guys definitely want to review that. Well, I'll keep shamelessly plugging our stuff, Ashley, just so you know. Um, I developed another process. I kind of, that's my thing. I develop processes and techniques for people to map out things. So this process I call the lifestyle rehabilitation statement. So I basically mapped out what I wanted to achieve with my life, and I set all the goals, and I gave myself a deadline, and I actually did this for a 5-year time span, which included my weight loss goals, my business goals, my relationship goals, and I read it out loud. It was written in present tense as if it had already happened. I read it out loud every morning, every night for 5 years, and I achieved every single goal. I missed one of them by 1 week from the goal. So I opened my fitness facility 1 week after my goal deadline date that I had set 5 years before, when I didn't even have any clients.
Slacker.
So Yeah, exactly. But it's just kind of a magical thing where, I believe in the law of attraction and all that, but I believe in the power of focus even more, and just
Mm-hmm.
focusing your mind every morning and saying, okay, this is the reality I want to create for myself. I'm going to focus my mind on this to start the day and see what opportunities are out there that are in line with this. And then at the end of the day, it's like accountability. I read it out loud, I feel it again, and I say, okay, what did I do today to get closer? Did I make a step closer to this statement that I'm putting out there? So every single morning, every single night for 5 years, and it's powerful stuff. Actually, like putting that kind of mojo out there, it worked really well for me, and I try to encourage other people to do that as well.
I love it because I feel that when we go unconscious in life, like when we get into that kind of that trap. I'm imagining like the gerbil running in the little gerbil wheel in his
Yeah,
his cage. But when we get caught up, I mean, look, we just had 2017. Do you feel like it just flew by? Like you were like, hey, what happened? Like we were just celebrating New Year's. We were just transitioning from 2016 to 2017. And all of a sudden, the year flew by, because we do that. We get into this cycle where we get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, and we sort of get into these habits, the unconscious habits where we come home, we sit on the couch, we go to bed, and all of a sudden months have flown by and we go, what just happened? Like, and then we remember, didn't I have a goal? Like I set a goal. What happened to that goal? Why didn't I work towards it? What's going on? Or we join a gym, we go a few times, and then all of a sudden we look at our bank statements and realize we've been paying for this gym for 6 months and we haven't gone. And we go, oh my gosh, like, where are my gym clothes anyway? Where did that gym bag go? It's been
right.
months. Like, it's collecting dust somewhere. And that's because we go unconscious. And it happens with our finances. Like, all of a sudden, if someone's living paycheck to paycheck and they went unconscious with their finances, they realize, they go to the store, and then their card says declined, and they're like, what just happened? And they went unconscious with their finances. We do the same with our caloric intake. You sit at and I'm not saying the calories aren't everything. It's a very small part of nutrition. But just as an example, we will eat on average 300 more calories a day, and sometimes people will eat 500 more calories a day just by eating a meal in front of a TV, because you're unconscious. You're unconsciously eating. How many times have you sat in front of the TV with your salsa and chips or your plate of food or whatever, and all of a sudden the food's gone? You look down, the food is gone. You don't really remember finishing it because you were just watching TV and putting food in your mouth. And that's going unconscious. When we go unconscious around our health goals, around any goal in our life, we don't achieve them because we're not conscious of them. And so I love your technique for remaining conscious of your long-term goals, because it keeps you accountable and keeps your focus on what you want. And then you're going to make those little tiny drops in the bucket. Like, if it's just, oh, hey, it's lunchtime. If you told yourself your goals in the morning, that by lunchtime they're still in your consciousness, and maybe you go for a walk at lunch, or maybe when you're out at a restaurant, you make a better choice, or maybe and that one better choice isn't going to be a make or break moment. But if you make 365 better choices when it comes to eating, or comes to going for that walk, or comes to going to the gym, that definitely adds up. And that's why I love your suggestion that we write out our goals in stated in the positive and stated as if they've already happened. Meaning, if your goal is for January 1st 2019, you say, it is January 1st 2019, and I am X amount of pounds, or I am, this dress size, or I now can run 5 miles, or whatever your goal is, or I now have a six pack, or whatever your goal is. And you state your goal, and then you read it to yourself every day, and look at it and become conscious of it. Then throughout your day, you'll make these little tiny choices, because we're constantly making choices all throughout the day. Do I stop at Starbucks, or do I make my coffee at home? Do I go for that walk at lunch, or do I, whatever, check my emails? We have all these choices. We have hundreds of choices every day, and they're just these little tiny deviations, little tiny differences that, when added up 365 times, mean difference between losing 70 pounds or gaining 20 or 30 pounds. It becomes a very big difference. And if in terms of your finances, it could be the difference of saving a few $1,000s or spending a few $1,000s a year. And if you save $5,000 a year, what is that in 10 years in your savings account? There's a big difference. But on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't feel like a big difference. And that's why the brat is the biggest problem in my world, because if we're not conscious of our goals, then the brat can take over. Because the brat doesn't see the long-term health benefits of these little tiny choices. The brat just sees that she's getting a salad instead of her steak, or she's having to go for a walk or go to the gym instead of get to sleep or get to watch TV. And so the brat freaks out, and because she's not getting her way or his way. But if you're conscious of your goals, like you did, like you read your goals morning and night, then you can thwart that brat that that otherwise would make you gain 20 pounds a year, or spend all your money, or not allow you to achieve those goals. So I love your techniques that you create. Now, you had mentioned that one thing we need to do is reach out, ask for help, put the ego aside, because that's like putting the brat in the corner, and
Right.
ask for help and ask for support, because there's going to come times when we feel really down. No matter how high we are and how excited we are, because it's January 1st, or it's the beginning of the year. Whenever you're listening to this, you're feeling excited and happy and motivated because Adam is amazing and fantastically motivational. There's going to come a point where we're not motivated, and that's where we really want to already have a group that we can reach out to and go, hey, I'm really down. But I'm reaching out instead of reaching for the potato chips. I'm reaching out to this community for support. So you've got a great Facebook group. How do we get into your Facebook group?
Yeah.
I love your Facebook group, by the way. I find it to be very supportive.
Yeah, and we love having you in there, and it's nice having experts like you in the group to kind of just combine ideas and share knowledge. But it's called the Defeat the Cheat group. You can go to defeatthecheat.com, and it'll redirect you to join the free group. And I'm big on a concept, another thing that I've named, accountability anchor points. And I just like what you're describing there, when that motivation, that fire kind of starts to diminish a little bit, what do you have as a support network to fall back on to make sure that you keep going? And I feel like you need to establish an accountability anchor point in all the major areas of your life. So you need some support at home, you need some support at work, in your friendship circles, and then finding something like an online group. There are so many great Facebook groups out there, the Learn True Health Facebook group, the Defeat the Cheat Facebook group, but find something you can plug into where you feel like you're in a group of like-minded people that get you and get your situation, that you can lean back on. Now, it's not going to be like, my group isn't a giant pity party of everybody going, man, I suck at my diet. Me too. Let's go eat ice cream together. Yeah, you deserve it, girlfriend. It's but it's cool. It's nice, and it's supportive of all different nutrition techniques. It's not like just paleo or just Weight Watchers. It's all types of nutrition plans and exercise regimens are welcome. I just want to help people. I'm creating an environment where people can show up in this group for free and get support and help just become consistent when they hit one of those pitfalls and they need somebody to lean on and ask questions of, and get a little bit of camaraderie. And, we share recipes, and, we do funny meme day and all that stuff, and celebrate lots and lots of wins. But we've got your back. That's when somebody brand new comes in. I'm like, listen, I don't care what situation you come from, what your experience level is, we've got your back, and we're going to help you make progress. And it's cool. It's a cool environment. And, but yeah, it's just another one of those accountability anchor points that we need to, if we're talking about the mountain again, you need to anchor on as often as you can. So if you do slip and fall, you don't fall all the way to the bottom of the mountain. You just follow that last anchor point. They catch you and they keep you moving forward.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so cool. That's exactly what we need, because sometime between January and March, we slip up. It's bound to happen. And I had a coach once tell me, because I had a quote unquote fallen off the bandwagon and was, kind of beating myself up. And she says, when you have a flat tire, do you get out of the car and slash the other 3 tires? And that's when it hit me. I'm like, man, I have been doing that. The second I whatever. I had one meal. One meal was messed up out of like 50 good meals in a row, right? And I was like, screw this, I suck. Like I was totally in that negative space. And and she just caught me with that saying, and I was like, that's so true. Um it's just one meal. Like just there's no bandwagon to fall off of. There's no bandwagon to get back on. It's just every meal make a better choice. That's
Right.
it. That's just okay. Just the next meal is a better choice. That's it. That's all. And then, but that little brat is like looking for any excuse to say screw it and go back to the old way. It's almost like the devil archetype. If you've ever heard of uh the tarot before it was fortune telling, because the original tarot was actually archetypes, and which this comes from several thousand years ago, and what it represents. If you look at like Carl Jung's training, the archetypes are personalities basically that we come up against, and in their personalities within us and personalities within other people. And the devil archetype, I'm not saying that the devil exists or doesn't exist. This isn't like a religious debate. It's the archetype of the devil represents the second we go to when we speak out into the universe, this is my new goal. Then what we come up against is the devil archetype. And what that is a conflict to test our resolve. So the depiction is like the devil's behind us with a pitchfork poking us in the back going, are you really sure you want to go to the gym today? Are you really sure you want to like not eat ice cream? And so anytime you set a goal, it could be a financial goal, it could be a career goal, it could be your physical health goal. The second you speak a goal into the universe, you're going to attract the devil archetype. You're going to come up against it. It's either going to be an internal conflict, or it'll be a conflict with someone else. Maybe your partner. Maybe, your friends will be like, oh, come out for drinks. Oh, come out, oh, you don't need to go to the, whatever, come out, oh, come on. You don't need to be on a diet today or whatever, right? Or your family will shove pasta, in front of you and say, why can't you eat my food? You ate my food your whole life. What's going on? And so the second we go and we say, this is my new goal, we just to know that either internally or externally, we're going to come up against some kind of resistance. And it's empowering to know that it's going to happen, because now you can prepare for it. Whereas in the past, it would totally trip us up. And then we'd, slide back all the way down the hill. I like that you're saying accountability anchor point, because it allows us to stop and go, okay, wait a second, connect with someone and kind of get grounded again and go, okay, wait, this isn't the end of the world. Just because a friend is asking me out for drinks, or just because my family is trying to get me to eat a food that isn't on my diet plan, it doesn't mean everything's over. It doesn't mean I can't achieve my health goals, right? We tend to blow everything out of proportion. And so I like that you have us gain accountability partners, or figure out how to get into a group where we can connect with people, so that when these things blow up in our face, so that when we come up against what's called the devil archetype, that we can catch ourselves and go, wait a second, I got to stay grounded to my health goals and get back on track, and not let this one little tiny hiccup blow completely out of proportion and have me slide back down the hill.
Yeah, and I think a big part about what you're talking about and what you've just brought up there, it's like we have to take a little bit of pressure off ourselves also as we come up against these challenges. Sometimes we're going to succeed and just dominate the challenge, and sometimes we're not. And we have to be really realistic with our thought process around that. So many people just, like you said, they have one bad meal and that's like epic fail, I'm giving up. And you have to realize that. So as I talk about the transformation timeline, it's not a linear process. It's not like you just go in one straight line straight across, like your arrow is going in the wrong direction, and then you make a shift, and then it goes in the correct direction forever. That there's lots and lots of twists and turns. I mean, you might have great momentum. You're starting, you reverse your momentum completely. You've achieved that healthy lifestyle balance, and then there's an injury, and you gain 15 pounds back of the 30 that you had lost. But then you have a moment, and in that moment, you basically presented with a choice of either learning and moving forward or giving up. But just knowing that there's a choice, that's empowering. That's empowering for all you guys out there. Hopefully that sent a little surge, a little tingle in your spine as you heard me speak those words. It's like, you've got a choice. And you can just say, all right, I learned from that. I learned that this situation is something that I am not well equipped to handle, but I can learn how to better handle that the next time it comes up. And
Mm-hmm.
now I start making positive progress again. So we have to just disabuse ourselves of the idea of that once we, you know, join a program and then just expect everything to be peachy from now on. Like, you're going to run into lots of twists and turns. You're going to lose some weight. You might regain a little bit and then regain momentum and then lose some more. We want the trend to go in the right direction and not in a complete circle like a lot of people do. We want the trend, going in the direction that we want it going, but don't beat ourselves up on those little learning moments. Tony Robbins says that there's no such thing as failure as long as you learn. And I feel like, that's what this is all about. That's what the transformation life cycle and the transformation timeline, that's what it's all about, is learning and then not making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And we just get a little bit better each time. And that's how we get ultimately to where we want to be.
And I love that you brought up that we're learning from mistakes, because we can take all of 2017 and kind of just do a mental inventory, and instead of thinking about all the failures that happened in 2017, we can go look at all the learnings. Look at all the times I had the opportunity to learn because my quote unquote failures, and let's learn from everything that's happened in our entire life up until this point, and let's apply it to 2018. Let's take our entire life, and shift our idea of failures. Instead of failures, they're now incredible learning opportunities that we're able to take and then apply to all of 2018, so that we can have a huge momentum of positive learnings moving forward. What kind of learnings did you achieve in 2017 that you're going to apply to 2018?
With me, a lot of it is just with my coaching with clients. And I've learned so much. Like I said, I just dive in and I just start, going after it, and the ready, fire, aim. And I just realize that I can learn so much from my clients just by taking some time. And I started doing, I've got an online academy, and I started adding in small group, what I call danger zone calls. And I just get to sit in and listen to these people and their top things that are messing them up, and spending, half an hour or 45 minutes and just help them work through it. And I've learned so much from that, and it gives me so many ideas to create. So I guess one of the main things I've learned is that just by sitting and listening to other people, I don't have to sit and come up with things out of thin air. I just need to sit back and listen to the people that I'm trying to help. And that's why I love doing the podcast. I love reading the iTunes reviews and all that, and just soaking up the knowledge, because it's there for the taking. And I feel like the other thing that I learned in 2017 is about limiting beliefs. And you've already kind of touched on this with the devil archetype. That's what limiting beliefs are, and what types of limiting beliefs are there in my head, in your head. And I think if there's one thing that we can do to really kick off this year, is just challenge ourselves to let go of one major limiting belief that's sitting there basically telling us why we can't do something.
Mm.
And just challenge that and be like, really? Is this really true? And just take some sort of action against that limiting belief to try to dispel it and erase it. And, so if you have that little voice inside your head saying, why are you even trying? Because you failed every year, epic fail. This is my year, New Year's resolution, epic fail. And, we have to just disabuse ourselves of that limiting belief and say, all right, I'm going to take some serious action this year. Maybe they do the goal setting process that I talked about, and you're going to, consistently take action every day and remind yourselves of your goal. And whether it's a big goal, a small goal, but just feel it, feel the passion behind that goal as you read it out loud, and do it consistently, and just show up. So let's get rid of one major limiting belief, and then let's just show up every single day to combat that and prove to ourselves that yes, we are worth it, and yes, we can in fact do this.
I love it. I love you brought up the danger zones. I know in your Facebook group you've had discussions about the danger zones. So in your academy, you have a whole coaching call, weekly coaching call, where your academy members can chat about their danger zone. Because that's, I think that's really powerful. Because I think my danger zone is that going unconscious. That when like if you eat in front of the TV, all of a sudden I did this. I can't remember. It was sometime around Christmas. We went to Trader Joe's and we grabbed every single bag of like nuts and seeds, and then we grabbed a bag of like frozen or dried cranberries, right? And we grabbed all the organic ones that we could find. So we have like pumpkin seeds and walnuts and cashews and almonds and everything, sunflower seeds, and then dried cranberry, and we put it into this giant bowl. We just mixed it all, and some of them are raw, some of them are salted, so it kind of balances out. It's not too salty, and it's this great healthy snack, and we call it granola because we're gluten free and most of the time grain free in our household. So my son doesn't eat oats, so we can't make granola.
Right.
But it's kind of like granola, and I was sitting there, and the big bowl was on the first mistake is bringing the entire bowl to the couch. Um, but the whole bowl
Yes.
was brought to the couch because the whole family was there. I should have really just put it in a tiny bowl, and then taken that to the couch. But the whole bowl was there. I was working on my computer, my laptop in my lap, and I was busy working on stuff for the podcast. And I was sitting there, and I was just taking a little handful, put in my mouth, working, taking a little handful, put in my mouth. And a few hours went by. I looked down, and I was freaking out. Like I had eaten half the bowl. I was like, that is like 2,000, 3,000 calories. I don't know because it's nuts, right?
Right.
But I was like, okay, I just looked at my husband, I'm like, take this bowl away from me. I can't believe what I just did. And that's when we go unconscious. And of course I could have, like I said, I identified afterwards, wow, I really should have put it in a tiny bowl and brought a tiny bowl with me instead of the whole bowl, because I thought, okay, the whole family's gonna snack on it and that's fine. Then we'll just put the big bowl back in the kitchen, no problem. Cause I use the big bowl to mix all the nuts together. But that's like that. That's for me. The danger zone is when we go unconscious, right? Because I'm pretty good once I'm conscious. Like I don't let other people derail me anymore. Like I've gotten to the point where family members can't tempt me with food I don't want, that kind of thing. But that's like the biggest danger zone. But I love that you get people to basically get on a coaching call and talk about the danger zones, because man, I mean, that's my one danger zone. I could learn if there's like 10 other people on the call sharing their danger zone. I could just learn from 10 other people and go, wow, I can see where I do that in my life. And then through listening to them, I can figure out how I can solve that danger zone in my life. And so it's like you've got 10 people learning 10 new techniques every week. How many people are on the call?
We actually keep a small group, so each person gets more time. So we have a maximum of 3 people,
Oh, wow. Very
and
cool.
yeah, and that way they get a little more focused. They get to do one a month. We do a 28-day basic. It's a roadmap, a 28-day focus. I use a tool that I call the Battle Plan Workbook, and yeah, we focus in on that next 28 days right in front of them, where we set larger goals. But I like to dial it back, where we say, all right, just in the next 4 weeks, what could really mess us up? What do we need to be ready for? And what's one action step that we can implement to be ready for that? And then we also, just put it out there and realize that this might not go perfectly, but we just focus on the learning that I talked about earlier. And it's really interesting that, Ashley, you and I are both entrepreneurs, and we will map out our business, our podcast schedule. We will plan out family. My wife and I just sat down and mapped out our family vacations and our kids' schedule with school and all this stuff way in advance. We put in all kinds of time to do that. But people don't take that same mindset with their body and their health and their nutrition. And, it's like, without all this stuff, without your health, you don't have anything
You
else.
don't have
That's,
anything. This is where your
yes,
body lives. This is where your
yes.
brain and your heart lives. I love I have a great amount of respect for that religion. Seventh-day Adventists, who there's a large percentage of them, a large population of them that live in this one region of California, and that one region of California is actually considered a blue zone because the majority of people can live to be 100 and disease free. And that's because Seventh-day Adventists really take it seriously what it says in the Bible about this is your temple, like God, like you're created in the image of God, and this is your temple. And
Wow.
so they took that to the extreme, and they're like, okay, we're growing our own food, we're eating organic, we're eating completely vegan, we're eating super clean, super healthy, because it's part of our spirituality to be healthy and take care of our body. And I just have a huge amount of respect for that mindset. Can you imagine if every single person woke up tomorrow and went, my body is my temple. This is where my soul lives. This is where my heart lives. This is where my brain lives. And this is the most important place for me to be. So I need to treat my body more better than my car, better than my house, better than, I need to treat my body like it's my top priority, because this is what I'm moving around in for the next 80 years. And just imagine what kind of where the world would go I mean, because if we made our body be our temple, we wouldn't pollute, because that's the air quality is affects our body, right? And we would start treating the planet better because the planet feeds our body, right? We'd start treating each other better because when we're more harmonious, we're out of stress, and being out of stress is healthier for the body. So having health goals treating our body in a healthy way surpasses just weight loss or just better abs. It goes beyond that. It goes to having a better quality of life, better quality relationships, and better, finances. It really does. I've seen it so many times where people, clean up their body and get better health, and then all of a sudden they have a better marriage and better relationship with their kids, and they their career advances, and so many other things happen and come into alignment in their life because they cleaned up their body. And I mean, this is where our brain lives. A lot of my clients come to me with brain fog as one of their symptoms, because when your body has systemic inflammation, when you're in stress mode, when you don't have nutrients, there's just so many reasons why the body creates brain fog. But when you do all the things you need to do to clean up your health, the brain fog goes away. And then all of a sudden you have this amazing mental clarity, and this amazing creativity comes back. And once your creativity comes back, whatever your career is, you are better at it and you get rewarded for it. And so even those short-term sacrifices to create long-term health, the rewards are amazing. It's like planting that seed, and now all of a sudden you have an entire field of apple trees, and that's all it took was spending the time to plant the seeds. So I love what you do. I love looking. Definitely recommend listeners go to transformationcoach.me and just spend a minute looking at all the pictures, because I spent the last hour looking at all the pictures, scrolling by of your clients who have these amazing success stories, and they look so healthy and so happy and so fit. Can you share with us some stories of success of people that have worked with you, and how spending the time to follow your program in terms of sticking to their goals and sacrificing a little bit of their lifestyle focus for their health focus, besides losing weight, what else did they end up having in addition to their achieving their weight loss goals? What else sort of surprised you and surprised them that they were able to then achieve in their life?
Yeah, and we could do about a 20-hour podcast and all the stories I've got. I mean, it's awesome. It's definitely the best part about what I do is being able to connect with these people and help them, and just, that's the main compensation, is just seeing the difference it makes for people and knowing that what I'm doing is helping people. And I'm not a celebrity fitness trainer. I don't train anybody famous. I'm not famous. I'm a regular guy. I've just helped a lot of regular people, like the people that are out there in this audience right now listening. And, I'll never be concerned with being famous or anything like that, because I just get so much out of the stories that come back. So one person that I think of is a gal named Lisa. I mentioned her earlier. She's lost 140 pounds. Actually, she's at 150 now. I need to update her picture. And when she first came and talked to me, she cried. She just openly cried and just felt lost and hopeless. And she's like, a lot of people, for whatever reason, they kind of find their way to me and my programs after they've kind of tried a lot of other things, and they see a Facebook ad or they hear the podcast or whatever, and they say, you know what, I've tried everything and I feel like this is kind of like my last hope. And I hear that you've been able to help people in this situation. Can you help me? And that's where Lisa was. And she was just crying. Like her first few workouts that we had her do, I mean, she had to get up and down the floor using help she had to get in it, work out a lot from a chair. And now, I mean, she's totally transformed her body and her life. And you can see in her pictures that just the look on her face and the look in her eyes of just vibrant and feeling alive again and feeling like she can do anything. And now she's setting all these strength training goals. Like she's close to being able to do like body weight dips and pull-ups, and she's deadlifting almost to her body weight. And like she's aiming for a 200-pound deadlift and all these cool things. And she can get up and down doing burpees, doing push-ups and so as I mentioned earlier, I like to use my clients for all my exercise videos. It's not, hired fitness models, and I'm not out there, unfortunately, I'm not out there in like my unitard, my pink spandex, doing step aerobic style or anything like that. I know a lot of you were hoping for that. But I stick my clients out there. And when I sent the email to Lisa, I said, hey, I want you to be my expert for my next video. She was like, what? Really? I mean, you could tell it gave her a whole new confidence boost. And, that's the cool part is people, I talk a lot about weight loss, but really we're achieving health. And I know that weight loss isn't as sexy of a term as it used to be. And I almost hate to use it as often as I do, but I'm like, if you have 50 pounds of body fat sitting on your stomach that needs to be, we need to be rid of that to find our health, to learn about, what we should be doing and what our body is capable of. So we focus on that, we get the job done, and that's just part of the deal. But helping these people find that health and just unlock the door, and they say, oh, I've got this brand new body. I want to see what I can do. So I've got a lot of people that are doing, they sign up for 5Ks and obstacle course races and mud runs. Like I've got another great example is my friend Linda. She, tried and failed she's one of my local clients. She tried and failed my boot camp program 3 times. What do I mean by failing is she kind of halfway gave in. Like she didn't really pass through that coachability phase that I talked about a minute ago. And she was kind of doing her own version of what I wanted her to do. And she would lose a few pounds, then regain, then try again, lose a few, regain. And then finally her 3rd boot camp, it stuck. She ended up losing 60 pounds. And last summer, we did an obstacle course race together. And she's in her 60s. She's lost 60 pounds. And we're doing this obstacle course race. Former smoker, quit smoking. I got her. I'm big on not weighing yourself every day. And she was an everyday weigher. I got her to quit doing that. And she is just not only one of my best clients, but really a true friend to me. And just an awesome person that I really enjoy spending time with and seeing her blossom with her fitness and gain confidence and just realize that, it's pretty cool to be in your 60s and realize that you're in the best shape you have ever been in your entire life. That's empowering, Ashley.
That is so awesome. I love it. I love that she quit smoking, lost the weight, and was able to do a obstacle course. I think that's so cool.
Yep.
Wow. So what other message do you want to share with the listeners who they're ringing in the new year? They now have, they're now beginning to formulate their health goals for 2018. What message do you want to impart to them as they're beginning to create their 2018 health goals?
All right. So here is what I would do. If I'm going to put on my coach hat, which I often wear, I would have you go through this process. The first thing I'm going to have you do is look at the entire year and set a goal for 5 different areas, 3 to 5 different areas for the year. All right. And I would encourage you to spread them out. So maybe one is a weight loss goal. Maybe one is a physical fitness goal, like being able to do a push-up. Maybe one is saving more money, but try to make them as specific as possible, measurable, so that you can say, I did or did not do this. Then, so that you have your full year's worth of goal that you set there in 3 to 5 different areas. Then I want you to divide those up into quarterly amounts. So if your goal is to lose 60 pounds in the year, your quarterly goal, your first quarter goal will be 15. And then, of course, that would break down to 5 pounds a month and then a little bit over a pound a week. And the thing that always pops up when I put people through this process, and I use this example, they're always psyched about the 60 pounds in a year. Like, yes, 60 pounds in a year. That would be awesome. I'm like, would that really get you fired up? Would you feel really proud of yourself? Yes, 100%. And then we work it all the way down to a little bit over a pound a week. They're like, that doesn't sound like much. And, and I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the 60 pounds that you were psyched about 2 seconds earlier. And so I guess one of the things I would encourage the audience to do is go through this process, but realize that it's just the consistency, the chipping away at the goal and not giving up. You're going to have some good times. You're going to have some bad times. You're going to have some obstacles to overcome. You're going to have some learning moments. But the key is to just never stop moving, never stop showing up. This is the year where we show up. If you show up and show up consistently, then, you can do whatever you want. And this can be the year that everything changes for you. I got to the point where I realized that for things to change, I had to change. For things to get better, I had to get better. And I had to take consistent action. And my why all of a sudden got way bigger than all the why nots. And that's when I took action. And if I can do it, anybody out there that's listening, you can do it too.
I love it. This is the year we show up. I love it.
Yes.
That's awesome. Adam, it's been wonderful having you on the show again. Can't wait to have you back. You always bring a tremendous amount of knowledge and wisdom, and just I love everything you taught today about. I love that concept of shifting our focus from our lifestyle to our health, and knowing that we're going to be bringing it back into balance, of anchoring ourselves with an accountability, with some form of accountability, so that we, like mountain climbers, we're anchoring ourselves to the mountain so we don't slide all the way back down, and to focus every day, be conscious of your goal, focus every day, because that little 1 pound a week, which doesn't sound like much, adds up to that big 60-pound loss at the end of the year. Or like Michael Weinberger doing 1 push-up a day and then adding 1 push-up a day, 2 push-ups tomorrow, 3 push-ups the next day. Doesn't seem like much, but in 3 months he can bang out 90 push-ups, and that's amazing. Like, no one can just go from doing nothing for years to just banging out 90 push-ups, but you can start with 1, and then you can be consistent, and eventually that's going to add up to something big. So Adam, thank you so much for bringing all this amazing information, very motivational. Definitely want listeners to check out your podcast. They can go to iTunes or Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those great podcast directories to listen to your podcast, and that's the Million Pound Mission podcast. I definitely want listeners to check that out. Please listen, subscribe to Adam's podcast, give it a 5-star rating and review in iTunes, and go to transformationcoach.me just so you can look at the very entertaining, wonderful transformation before and after photos of his clients, and then sign up for his free 14-day Hello Abs starter course, which is free. I'm signing up for it. I want to check out his meal plan. I want to watch the videos. I'm going to do it, Adam. I'm going to do it. Yes. I'm going to do your 14-day course. We all want abs. I love that you didn't do like the very cliche, like 5-minute abs, or like 1 second. It's so funny how you see these like books, and you see the how it used to be 30-day abs, and then it was 14-day abs, and then it was 2-day abs, and it was like 1 hour workout turned into like 5-minute abs, and it's just all marketing. But you're saying this is a starter course. It's a 14-day. It's a starter course. You're not saying that it's the cure to everything, but it's what's going to get us off the couch. It's what going to get us into action, start the momentum. And that's exactly what we need. We need to start the momentum, and then we need to keep the momentum going. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So transformationcoach.me, where we can get that free ab course, which also comes with your meal plan. And then really, I encourage listeners to join the Defeat the Cheat Facebook group. To go to defeatthecheat.com, join the Facebook group. Adam is really great in the Facebook group, and I love that he creates daily conversations for us to have around our mindset and our health. And I find it very entertaining as a health nut to be in his Facebook group. And for those who love the Learn True Health podcast, you can also join the Learn True Health Facebook group by going to learntruehealth.com/group, or you can search Learn True Health in Facebook to join our Facebook group as well. Adam, definitely want to have you back on the show at some point in 2018 where we can continue this conversation and continue talking about our goals, and you can bring new information to us as we are maturing and progressing in our goals. And hopefully we have a few hiccups along the way so that we can gain the positive learnings and become stronger as we move forward. Have a fantastic rest of your January, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, Ashley. I just really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience, to coach them up a little bit. And I just appreciate you, your friendship, my podcast friend, and just somebody that I know that we're all kind of going through a similar journey. And I just have so much respect for you. And again, I just appreciate the time and you allow me to be on your show and share my message.
Hello, True Health Seekers. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. After I got off of the interview with Adam Schaeuble, he said to me, I would love for you to join my Transformation Academy. And so he's invited me to be a part of his Transformation Academy. I'm going to be a participant. I'm going to go through his 28-day transformation. And I would love for you to join me. I think it's an amazing opportunity for us to kick off January, kick off 2018 in such a wonderful style. And if you're listening to this and it's beyond January, it's February, March, April, it's somewhere down the road, still come join in. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see how much we can transform our lives. I love what everything Adam teaches is so amazing. So please go to learntruehealth.com/academy. That's learntruehealth.com/academy to join Adam's Transformation Academy. It's very affordable, and it's 28 days of amazing coaching to shed the pounds, transform your health, gain your fitness. I've loved everything I've learned from him. I've been studying underneath him, learning from him for the last few months, observing what he does with his podcast and with his Facebook group, and just taking in all the wonderful knowledge that he provides. He helped his town lose 35,000 pounds, which is amazing. And now he's gone on to help so many thousands of people. And his goal, of course, is to help people lose 1 million pounds, the 1 million pound mission, which is so wonderful because he's in it to help people find true health. And that's exactly what my podcast is all about, is finding true health, which is lasting, sustainable, healthy weight loss and fitness. So join Adam's Transformation Academy by going to learntruehealth.com/academy, and I look forward to seeing you there. Excellent. Wonderful. Well, have a fantastic rest of your 2018. And if you enjoyed today's interview or any of my interviews, please go ahead and share them with your friends and family. I love that we're turning this ripple into a tidal wave and helping as many people as possible to transform their health.